Kungaloosh, Viva Gaia, and Namaste. Welcome to 3 o'clock parade exclusive. I'm gonna drink in the details today of Disney's Animal Kingdom's Asia. We've been to the Oasis, we've been to the entrance, we've been to Discovery Island, and we've been to the Pandora. Now we're gonna check out one of the more original lands, opened a little bit after the park, but it's been around here just about since the beginning, and we're gonna see some of the details that you may not have noticed coming through and all the details that Disney puts in to tie this land all together. So let's go have some fun here in Disney's Animal Kingdom, Asia. Coming across the bridge, we're gonna notice, first thing I notice, of course, are the watercraft along the rivers here. Here at Disney's Animal Kingdom, many of the lands are on the river. Harambe is an East African port city. Pandora, you cross across the river. And waterways are a big part here in Asia. And you're gonna see that water plays a big role in the theming as we go forward with one of the major attractions, Kali River Rapids, a little bit later. Then staring at us right as we enter the area is this large statue that has crumbled throughout the years. Mother Nature sure has taken its toll on this ancient sculpture that appears to be a tiger. And we're gonna see references to the tiger throughout the entire land. And this prayer tree sitting right behind it really caps off a beautiful entrance into the park, or into the land. Ah, lower garden. That sounds interesting. Let's check out the lower garden. It's little spots like these that help it feel isolated from the rest of the park. These little quaint spots. Great view of the river and some of the watercraft. Nice little lower garden. Climbing our way up the hill back into the main area of Anandapur. That's the city name here that we're in, the village of Anandapur. You'll see that name quite a bit. The Royal Anandapur Tea Company. And on throughout the land. Here you start to see evidence of another common theme that goes throughout Disney's Animal Kingdom, and that's ecotourism. Now you can see that this is obviously a place that visitors come. They're going to need all kinds of activities and places to stay. So you see ads for different attractions and places to stay, bicycle for hire, different kinds of transportation. A nice subtle way to point out the different attractions you're going to see while you're here in the land. A nice, very helpful map. We need a "You Are Here" sign somewhere in here. But this little map of the village of Anandapur Township does have a list of all these different businesses. Now, not all of these are Disney businesses. A lot of these are places that you're going to see inside the queue line. For example, Mr. Panika's shop, Anandapur Woodworking. The majority of these here are actually in the queue line for Kali River Rapids. So when you go through the queue line of Kali River Rapids, you're going to actually go through and see Mr. Panika's shop. Some of them are, of course, like the Maharaja Jungle Trek, but that's one of the cool things that I really like about the Kali River Rapids attraction is a majority of the storyline for the entire village of Anandapur takes place inside the queue line for Kali River Rapids. Even the trees and plants play a role in the theming here in Asia, and this silk floss is no exception. It's a beautiful tree with these great spikes on the outside. And they do have these almost cotton-like blooms that come down in the spring. Really cool tree in addition to Asia here. Right here on the banks of the mighty Shakarandi River is the section of the village that I mentioned earlier that happens to serve the purpose of the queue line for Kali River Rapids. But within our story and within our village, it also houses the temple that you see right here, as well as other vital businesses throughout Anandapur. Being by the river, flooding is a major issue. You see this home has built its house up on stilts to prevent flooding of their home and property. And it also provides a great entrance for us to walk through for the entrance to Kali River Rapids. What a convenient little coincidence there. Off in the background, what you're going to notice is first signs of the story that's going on here in Anandapur, the conservation message. The conservation message here, I hear chainsaws going on in the background. There's clearly some heavy equipment, some chainsaws being used in the background, leading me to believe that something's afoot here in Anandapur. So here we are inside the temple here in Anandapur. You can see the tiger statue in the middle, the deity that we're going to be seeing throughout all of Anandapur. And the Mother Nature has continued to wreak havoc on man-made structures here in the back, these ancient structures. Same thing that we saw with the tiger statue earlier at the entrance to Asia. So a lot of beautiful artifacts here in the temple. The next area we come to is the open air market. This is where residents come to sell their wares, such as cooking utensils, housewares, and then fruits and vegetables over in this area. All that can be done here in the open air market that has been nicely covered by haphazardly throwing up pieces of fabric and plastic to keep it covered from the rain on a less than ideal day like today. Just outside the open air market is this beautiful pagoda. And each one of these tiles in here tells a different story. A proverb, if you will. Beautiful artwork. And now we go to my favorite spot, Mr. Panika's shop. This is an antique shop that we're going into now. where Mr. Panika has artifacts and antiques from the region that are for sale to all the visitors as well as residents of Harambe. Oh, son of a gun, he's not here, he's at the temple right now. I want you to take a notice of this picture of these two people. We're going to get to that as we continue on throughout Anandapur, who these two people are. But you're going to find their picture posted in just about every business here in Anandapur, including Mr. Panika's office. So he's got a ladder there up to his bed, which is up in the rafters. You can see he's got his bed up here, so he actually sleeps here in the shop. And now we've made our way into the Kali Rapids Expeditions area, loading area. See this woman here? Right now she's telling in the video that the purpose for Kali Rapids Expeditions was her way of showing the villagers that there's better ways to make money off the wild resources than to cut them down. You can use ecotourism, like Kali Rapids Expeditions, where visitors come and pay to enjoy the forest and the river. So here we are, rafting through the lush tropical rainforest here in Anandapur, and we're about to find out what all that chainsawing was about earlier, and find out that this habitat is actually under attack by T-Tac logging. As we come through the misty forest, we are at the foothills of the Himalayas. I do see Forbidden Mountain in the background. But oh my gosh, the trees have all been cut down and there's a fire and they're burning out all the trees.
Oh! We out here, man. It got wet.
So this is what all those chainsaws were coming from. They are cutting down the rainforest.
We gotta get whiskey here, please. No. Oh.
It appears a family of gibbons has moved into this temple. Which makes a wonderful habitat for these animals who can go around and forage for food throughout the entire temple and nearby islands. So look at how popular ecotourism is. What a great opportunity for the village of Anandapur to move past the logging industry, which is destructive to the rainforest, and move towards a sustainable economy for our years to come. And, you know, beer, of course. One of the major attractions here in Asia is the Maharaja Jungle Trek. Now, storyline-wise, if you come in here, you're going to see that it is the Anandapur Royal Forest. And the story is told here about how the former royal hunting preserve has been turned into a wildlife refuge for guests to come through now as an ecotourism attraction. So we're going to walk through the Anandapur Royal Forest and see what other clues and little hidden details we might find. I always love the ceiling with the newspapers. Groundskeeper tools. Ooh, Komodo dragon. Tigers are frequently encountered in the ruins ahead. Boy, I sure hope so. Now, the newest addition here in the Anandapur Royal Forest, Maharaja Jungle Trek, are the monkeys. So we're gonna go take a look in here and see.
There's one female that's way up on the cliff area on the right. You can see her peeking out up there. See her up there? Yeah. And the other two are right here in this tree to the right. I don't know how she got up there, but she's tucked in that little crevice up there, just sort of surveying her domain. She feels kind of safe because nothing can sneak up behind her. And she can look out from that high vantage point and see what's going on. I can see them over here.
One thing you've probably realized by now, if you've ever followed me on Twitter or watched any of the videos, is I love little details that tie in the parks. Well, here's one that goes overlooked often, and this is Attavika Station number 12 of the Anandapur Forestry District. Now we're going to see that Attavika Station number 12 referenced other places throughout Anandapur. So when we see it, you'll know that this is the building they're talking about. It's the Anandapur Community Hall. And the Anandapur Community Hall happens to overlook the Bat Cliffs. So keep your eyes open for signs that reference Attavika Station number 12. Let's see the schedule. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Ooh, Saturday looks good. The feast day. Ooh, the tourism conference on Friday, but hey, feast day is the way to go. Oh, and it's, oh, I may have to crash this wedding. Yeah, it's gonna be good. Oh, and for those of you who like little Easter eggs, got a hidden Joe Rohde right here. Joe Rohde, Imagineer for Disney's Animal Kingdom, pictured in this photo right here. Here we are inside the Anandapur Community Hall, now being used for educational purposes to learn about the bats. Look at that, we even have a projector up here in the rafters.
They're hanging out in the trees out here. This is what they look like.
Could pull down that old school screen and watch a movie or something? Sure, why not? Pollinators. Pollinators.
Come on, my hand, bro, that.
So now we approach the former royal retreat, where when the Raja would come and hunt, they could relax in style. But as you can see over the years, time has not been kind to this area. And if you like hidden Mickeys, you'll find several here. It's also where you'll find our tigers. You've got the king that established this as a hunting preserve, very masculine, with a nice little Mickey earring. Every hunting reserve needs a nice botanical garden that was added by this king. You'll recognize this structure here that he is the architect of in a few moments. He designed this building that we'll see in a moment. And finally, our peace-loving king. Oh, look, somebody left 2 cups. We'll grab this one. Oh, no, that one's stuck. I'll take this one, though. And now, a story of man's impact on the environment. You've got the circle of life, the world in harmony. All animals get enough to eat when gathered around the tree of life, Mother Nature. Human has decided to cut down the tree of life for different purposes. As you can see, the animals are scattering in different directions, no longer protected by Mother Nature, the tree of life. The world is thrown into chaos. Animals unhappy, perishing. What can be done? But there is hope. As humans replant the tree of life, many of the animals have returned from the first shot, but some have not. Extinction lasts forever, and we will learn that in the episode on Dino Land, USA. And here's that building that we saw the king that was the architect held in his hands. Well, there you go. Offered without comment. Now about those 2 people, there they are again, here on the merchandise cart. And there they are again, inside the beer window. And there they are, peeking over the iced coffee things at the Joffrey's coffee shop. And here is a huge one, beautiful one here at the Yak and Yeti restaurant and bar. So what's the deal? Well, those guys are the Raja, the king and queen. And that little decal with their photo on it is almost like a business tax that lets everyone know that you've paid your tax and you're a legitimate business and not just some pop-up shop. So you can stay and they won't kick you out. Unlike some of those other spots, if you just showed up and tried to sell your pots and pans, they'd probably kick you out. But not if you have that awesome sticker. Before we leave Anandapur proper, I had to show you the little bit of detail that makes me so happy. Remember the Atavika station number 12? Well, there's a spot, poster here throughout all of Asia that talks about Stop T-Tech Logging Company. There's going to be a community meeting, hear what can be done, at Atavika Station number 12, Thursday evening. It's those little details that someone like me who lives for the details just eats up. All these posters reference a place that actually exists here in Anandapur. But that leads me to wonder what lies ahead here in the kingdom of Anandapur. We're going to leave the village proper and head up to the foothills of the Himalayas, all the way up to Forbidden Mountain, and see what other details and stories take place as we go up there.
Sorry, I'll hold it if you want me to.
The people who live in this area of Anandapur certainly seem to value these mountains as they've built this structure in the same shape and profile of the mountains. We should probably press a little deeper and see what's going on. Prominently discussed here in Surkazong, which is the village up into the mountains here in the kingdom of Anandapur, is the legend of the Yeti. Now, the Yeti is a mythical creature that in some ways has actually helped protect the wild places of this area, as humans hear about this legend of the Yeti protecting the forests, and they do not want to go in and disturb that and feel the wrath of the Yeti. Now, as people from around the world have come into the area, you're going to see that Yeti taken more from a fierce, feared creature from lore and turned more into a fun marketing tool that we're going to see as we walk through the kingdom of Anandapur here in Surkazong village. I mean, the first thing we run into is a place called the Yeti Palace Hotel. So as all these tourists are coming into town, they're capitalizing on the Yeti, this legend of the Yeti that is held so sacred, and they're kind of using it as a marketing tool here. So we're standing here in this construction site for the Yeti Palace Hotel. And these great bricks that I believe might come from India. We saw the sign for the Shangri-La Trekkers Inn and Internet Cafe back on the big signpost back in the proper Anandapur village. Well, here it is. This is, as you can see by this sign, the Shangri-La Trekkers Inn and Internet Cafe. And I will not rest until this is turned into an open-air bar that we can go visit. Ooh, let's get some gear to climb the mountains. It's really hard not to notice the giant mountain. That's the Forbidden Mountain straight ahead, the tall mountain here, with Mount Everest there far, far in the distance. Now, this is a gathering place here in Surkazong, a place where you would start to get your gear to begin your trek to base camp to climb Mount Everest. Now, it could take a long time to walk around to get to Mount Everest, the base camp. But what two businessmen have done, Norbu and Bob, is they've created a trek, an expedition Everest, where they've taken this train that used to be used by the Royal Anandapur Tea Company, and they're going to let us use that train to get through the Forbidden Mountain to base camp to Everest and save us a ton of time. Now, they don't believe in this whole Yeti thing. They don't believe this Yeti's real, so they say, let's just go right through the mountain. Well, we're gonna find out if it's real or not when we ride the attraction, so. What you're gonna notice is all the signs to Expedition Everest appear to be temporary. That's because on any other day, they're doing other things here with this train. But today it happens to be Expedition Everest, so we're going to utilize it for that. The locals are saying that the legend of the Forbidden Mountain should make you not want to ride. Visitors beware. Now there are two different offices to go on the Himalayan Escapes Expedition Everest. There's the standby entrance, which is the place where you go if you don't have all your permitting stamped. But if you do have your permits already stamped, you can go this way into this office and make it a little bit quicker, and that's what we're gonna do. So as you make your way to the train, what you'll notice are spots to pick up all your gear for your trek. In fact, you can get a nice backpack, some spikes for your boots, some ropes, all kinds of gear available. But is the Yeti real? There's only one way to find out, and that's go on Expedition Everest. Oh yes, it's real. Great ride. You get to meet the Yeti, and guess what? They were right. Norbu and Bob are wrong. That Yeti's real, and we are not gonna make it to base camp anytime today because he threw us back down the mountain and back here to Cirque Zong. So, oh darn, I guess we'll just have to enjoy the rest of our day trying all the food and beverages and walking around and enjoying the sights. And later tonight we can watch the show, Rivers of Light. What a beautiful town, what a beautiful kingdom. I love it here in the kingdom of Anandapur. Thanks for hanging out with me today on Drinking in the Details, Asia at Disney's Animal Kingdom.